My name is Jessica Rivas, and I'm from Texas A&M University, and I'm here with
and Gates from UT El Paso.
And we're here at the Tapia conference. So, what has been your role here at the Tapia conference this week?
At the Tapia conference, I was a plenary speaker. I also participated in 2 panels. One that talked about the chair's role in broadening participation, and then another one that looked at the industry perspective.
So, as a woman scientist, how do you see like our new generation coming along, like the new girls that are going on, like becoming scientists? How do you see them coming along?
Well, I think that there's a big image of computing problem, and I think that young women are not really hearing the message about what it means to be in an IT or computing career. So I think it's really important that we have a lot of role models that can have a presence in primary grade or secondary schools to be out there and try to encourage girls to come into a profession.
Growing up, I'm sure you had mentors that supported you and helped you out through this process. Do you recall a mentor that really sparked that gave you inspiration to keep going, motivation?
I had several mentors. In high school, I had a high school teacher. Her name was Mary Ellen Paul, and she had worked at IBM for many years, and now she was teaching high school. And at that time, since I'm much older, it was called data processing. And so she took me to a state competition, and I really admired her. I really wanted to work at IBM. That was something that I had set in my mind to do. I loved math, and so what I did is I majored in mathematics with a minor in biology as an undergrad. And I wanted to go on, beyond that, but I really didn't have anyone that was kind of saying, go on, get your master's, get your PhD. So I got married, went back to school at the age of 38 to get my master's. I went to get actually an undergraduate degree. I decided I had worked as a developer, a programmer, but I never was formally trained because they didn't have computer science degree at that time. So I wanted to go back and get a dual degree. So I started taking computer science courses, and one of the professors, Dan Cook, came to me and said, what are you doing? I mean, you should be in the graduate program. And so he encouraged me to go on the graduate program. So that's how I got into the master's program. Then when I was in the master's program, the chair of the department, who was Andy Burnett, came up to me and said, I'm going to nominate you for a fellowship. And if you get the fellowship, you have to promise me that you'll go on and get your PhD. And at that time, I was interviewing with IBM, and IBM offered me a couple of positions. So it was this big decision of, do I go to IBM or do I go on and get my PhD? And I decided to go on and get a PhD. And so I did get the fellowship, and I could pretty much go wherever I wanted to go. But I had a family at the time. I had 3 children, and my husband had his own business in El Paso. So I went to New Mexico State University because it was close. We didn't have to really move everybody, and it was a good choice.
So what made you decide to choose into going to get your PhD instead of taking the IBM offer?
Well, it was a couple of things. One is I had 3 children, and the offer was in Tucson, and I went to Tucson. I love the city, but it just didn't seem friendly to me in the sense of, child care for the children. And so it was an interesting city. IBM was really far out. We looked at a lot of houses. They recruited me really heavily. They offered me several positions in different areas. But it came down to the family, actually. I didn't really want to be in a position where I had to work far away from where my children went to school. And the IBM facility was a little bit out in the desert, and the road system didn't seem that good. It was just a lot of different things. It just didn't seem right. And so with the offer to go on and get a PhD, because I really did want to get a PhD, so I said, okay, I'll go this route. And I could always go to R&D at IBM, I guess, if I wanted to. So.
How did you find balance? That's like very,
Yeah,
3
it is.
kids, then going back to school. How did you
Yes.
find balance to manage a family and school?
Well, when I went to school, what I did is that I took the children to the bus stop and got them off. I had a daughter in high school, a daughter in middle school, and I had a son starting primary grade, first grade. And I would get them off to school. I'd go to school. I would study during the day, take the classes in the afternoon, come back at 3:30 or 4, make dinner, and then help them with their homework, and then put them to bed. My older child was, obviously didn't need that, but after the children went to bed around 10, then I'd start studying, as I say, from like 10 to midnight or 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was my schedule. And then on Saturday, I would clean house. So it was a lot of balance. And then I reminded my husband that when he was in law school, that I did everything for him so that he could study. And then he started helping me after that. So it was good. I mean, he really pitched in, and then he started cooking, and so that was good.
That's really good. It's never too late to go back.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
I was 45 when I graduated.
Wow. Really never too late.
Yeah, it's not too late.
So what would be the message that you would like to give out to students out there that maybe, have a family or something, what's the message that you like to tell them?
Well, I think that, everyone's different. And so you see people that go through their undergraduate program and then go right away into the graduate PhD program. And I think that for some people that works. For me, having the experience of having been out in the field working in software development and having that whole experiences, and then being able to stay home with the children, because my life was really varied. I got my degree, I worked as a developer, we moved to Houston, worked as a developer there, then I got pregnant, so then I stayed home, then I started teaching evening school, and I taught data processing, because that allowed me to be with children during the day. It still works. I really like working. But then I quit that, and I had all this flexibility. Then I taught high school when my husband decided to go back to school. He went back to school late as well to get his law degree. Then when we moved back, I stayed home again, and that's when I started to get this urge to go back into the workforce. So I got a job after being out of software development for 15 years with at Fort Bliss, and so I worked on the missile minder system. And as I was working back in development at assembler language level, went to Europe and did some testing, and it was really exciting for me. So I thought, I need to get my degree, and so I started. Children were in school. I mean, I was able to manage it because I had more free time. And so my career path, was varied. I mean, I even did work with, because I neglected to say that when I got my bachelor's degree, I worked with an accountant. I worked with an accounting with a software development firm. They didn't have an opening in the scientific staff, so they asked if I would take a job in accounts payable. So I did it because I like working with numbers.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then they moved me to the scientific staff. So I did that for years. So I had this accounting background. So along that way, I went back and worked for the accountant. And then I was trying to say, okay, do I want to be an accountant? I love psychology, because I had to pick up psychology when I went to teach. I was a certified teacher, and I needed to get certification. So the minor that they wanted me to pick up was psychology, because I'd lost all my biology credits. So I love psychology, so it was, there are all these crossroads of paths I could take, and then I decided to take the path of computer science. So yeah, pretty much I've done a lot of different things.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for being here and letting us interview.